Hello, Talk Tuners. Welcome to episode 12. 12 of
12.
Stephanie and Stephanie Talk Tunes. I'm Stephanie Myers.
Hey, y'all. I'm Stephanie Pena.
And we're excited to be here as always. We're ready to chit chat with you guys about some great stuff today. And, you know, we've had a really great weekend full of fun concerts for both of us, which is such something in our, individual wheelhouses. I know we both get excited about seeing shows.
Yeah, it's great. This is actually my first time going out to a show since my vaccination, since the pandemic. I was trying to even think of the last concert I went to before we went on lockdown, and I can't even remember.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah. So
that's your time back. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
this is probably mine was. I guess this is my second or third show since vaccination. I ended up seeing Bully at the Lodge Room here in LA, and I don't know if our listeners are familiar. I know you are, Stephanie. It's Alicia Bognato and her bands, who are great. They're definitely have just this really, I would say, really unique sound. They sound really similar to like Sebadoh, to like the vein of like Breeders, Dinosaur Jr. kind of vein, but just put on a great show. So much energy and so much fun. And it wasn't too big to where it didn't feel overwhelming. It was it was all vaxxed show and masked show.
That's cool. Yeah, because at a lodge, I'm not familiar with the venue, so I imagine it's pretty small.
Yeah, it's really not big at all. It's just kind of one room. I think it wasn't at capacity. And then per LA regulations, folks stayed masked and they did ask for a vax card up front. So even though that was indoors, it felt good. And the show was awesome. You can imagine, you get to do fun lighting inside and all these, little concerts.
Yeah. And that intimacy, man. The intimacy, dude. That's where it's at. I love it. That's great. I'll have to go check out a show at that room whenever I make it back to LA. That's cool.
Totally. Yeah. And it sounds like the show you went and saw was just bigger on scale. It was outdoors, but, it's Dwight Yoakum. And that really dovetails into how we're talking about Johnny Cash today and our memories and stories around Johnny. But love to hear how Dwight went for you.
Yeah, because you think about it, they're probably homies, right? So Dwight and Johnny Cash are probably homies, as Dwight Yoakam is definitely household name, but he still has this type of underground cultish, following. And anyway, so Dwight Yoakam yesterday, he's a San Antonio sweetheart. He has definitely played SA so many times. I saw him in what's called Helotes, Texas, which is literally like a dip a toe right outside of San Antonio. So it's part of the greater San Antonio area. There is a store called Floor's Country Store that has been around for decades. And this is actually my first time going, though. When I was younger, I had friends who were really into 90s country, and they saw a lot of artists there at this venue. But for me, with country, I love music, and we've talked about how we hit all genres. But for country, for me, it's just select artists, and Dwight Yoakam has always been a big one for me. So one of my all-time favorites. So the first album that I ever heard of Dwight Yoakam was Hillbilly Deluxe. Do you remember that album, Steph?
I do. It's been a minute.
Yeah. So that was the first album that I was introduced to. It came out in 1987. It's not to be confused with Rob Zombie's Hellbilly Deluxe, which I also love, that came out in 1998. But both great albums, but we're going to talk about the Hillbilly. And man, this was one of my parents' favorites of all time too. Like, this album was on heavy rotation in the Pena house in 1987 and probably all the way to like 95. And like I said, the cool thing about Dwight Yoakam is that, he's known. People know who he is. For sure. But he still has an underground cultist fan base. And reasoning behind that is because of his music. It's not the traditional country music that you would hear. I mean, Dwight Yoakam is got that influence of rock and roll and even conjunto. And for those folks who don't know what conjunto music is, that's traditional Mexican music with the accordion. It has subgenres of conjunto would be like Tejanos. When you think of folks, I mean, household names, Selena, you think of that, you will definitely hear those influences in Yoakum's music. And actually, I thought he was a Tejano singer at first when I heard him when I was a kid, because that's, I mean, there are some songs that just sound like Tejano songs straight up. And I remember seeing him on TV in Austin City Limits. He would always be jamming in all black, which is something similar to Johnny Cash. And Johnny Cash is the man in black. So Dwight Yoakam was known for his get-ups. He'd go out in all black as well sometimes, but his main get-up was the jean jacket. And he was wearing the jean jacket and the white hat, cowboy hat. And so he brought his stage presence, and his band was all had the rhinestoned out old school country, get up. So it was really cool. It was fun. And what I know about Dwight too, and just again in his music and influences, which is super cool. I have to share this, y'all. So he actually used to tour in California and play a bunch of venues that were normally known as punk venues. So like LA's legendary punk band X actually created a subgenre of punk called cowpunk that was influenced by Dwight, because there would be times where Dwight Yoakam would open up for punk bands. So there's like a little following. It's super cool. And, so he's played the stages of X, Dead Kennedys, Butthole Surfers. He's even collaborated with Los Lobos, which is another really huge Latino rock band, and, from California. And, he's definitely had played some historic venues, including Madame Wong's in Chinatown. So, Steph, I've never been. Have you ever been to a show at Madame Wong's?
I was told about that venue. It's supposed to be pretty cool from what I hear.
Yeah.
And did just have to interject, talking about the X, which is amazing. X is an incredible band. And I interviewed John Doe from X back in the day once, and he was just really cool. So it's so neat that there's that Dwight X connection, and that he would really be able to cross that genre, which is such a specific genre.
Absolutely. Because Dwight's just special. No joke. You definitely know that there are folks that are diehard country fans that like Dwight Yoakam, but he crosses that line where folks like myself and you, Stephanie, and who just like, eclectic taste. So that's so great. I love how music just joins all different backgrounds and interests together. It was really cool. It was a really good crowd. Just giving more props to Dwight. He actually covered Prince's Purple Rain. Like, that's kind of how cool Dwight Yoakam is.
Very cool.
As far as who we're talking about today, he was heavily influenced by Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash, he said in numerous interviews that his mom was a diehard fan, and so he was always listening to Johnny Cash. He loves Merle Haggard. And the cool thing about Merle Haggard, I have a quote from him, is talking about the difference in country music from that's born in Nashville. We always think of Nashville being the heart of country, absolutely. And country music from the West Coast is that country music in Nashville came from churches, and the country music in the West Coast came from honky tonks and bars. That's so true. And that's Yoakam. That's right, Yoakam. He's the honky tonk man. Everybody knows that song, right? Yeah, I know you do. The honky tonk man. So the show was great. It was awesome. Definitely a lot of different genres. I saw people younger than me. So again, just showing how music just lives on. But to be honest with you, things got a little weird. It got a little political. I wasn't really down for all that. But I must say, y'all, if you haven't used it before, use it now. It's called setlistfm.com. You can literally go online and see where your artists, what set list that they played, because this is a show. They're going to have a set list, an actual list that they're going to play every night, maybe switch up one or two songs. But this this website is such a lifesaver, because from concert goer to concert goer, you're trying to have some beverages, get hype, and then, oh man, now I got to go to the bathroom. Well, it's like, I don't want to miss the show. But if it's a song that you can actually say, oh, it's fine, I'm not the biggest fan of this song, I can spare 5 to 10 minutes while I go to, the facilities and go grab another beer. It's great for planning. And so when things got a little strange, I was like, you know what? Let me see here. Let me see when I can exit. But I'm happy to say that I saw him play 20 songs last night. 20. Great performer. Fantastic. Glad I went. And I'm super stoked to talk about Johnny Cash. They just go hand in hand. These are two badass country music legends. We talked about Outlaws, Willie Nelson. This is the group, y'all. We're continuing that group. Like, these are all members. Really fucking cool.
Exactly. Like, everything's connected, and it's kind of like the great circle of life, especially with country. It was born from so much early things, and he, claims his influences and everything. But so excited to talk about the one, the only Man in Black, Johnny Cash, today. And specifically talking about Johnny, talking about our memories, stories around him, and talking about Ring of Fire, that classic Ring of Fire. Really excited to do it today.
Yes. So, Johnny Cash, for those that haven't or don't know much about his life, we're going to have some fun facts. So let me just start, y'all. So he was born John R. Cash on February 26, 1932 in Kingsland, Arkansas. And he died on September 12th. Oh my gosh, the anniversary. Today's September 12th. Whoa, let's pause.
Pause. Stephanie and I didn't realize, we're recording this today on September 12th, guys. Johnny Cash passed today, 18 years ago. And we did not realize that. And that seems like, kind of got chills.
Yeah, me too.
Isn't it? And I'm wearing my Johnny Cash shirt for those who are watching on YouTube. Wow. And we did not plan that. What? So that's a 1 in 365 chance that we do that?
Yeah.
Gonna just acknowledge.
Yeah. Wow. Well, yeah. So Johnny left us 18 years ago today. And when he was growing up, his name was actually JR. He went by JR. He did not go by Johnny. It was when he joined the Air Force that he named himself Johnny, because the Air Force would not accept a candidate with initials for a name. So that's where you get Johnny Cash. It was really John R. But wow, I'm still taken back that today's the anniversary of his passing. So let's talk about cool shit that happened when he was with us. So per Radio Texas Live, Johnny Cash has recorded 96 albums and over 1,500 songs throughout his career. Holy shit. Let me say that again. 96 albums, over 1,500 songs. Holy shit.
Nuts,
Wow, that's so cool. According to Radio Texas Live, something funny is that he got into a fight with an ostrich and lost. The ostrich broke his ribs. As we know, Johnny Cash, for those that aren't familiar with Johnny Cash, he definitely was a character, and he had some addiction problems. So there was probably a really fun story behind the ostrich, but I had to throw that in there because for those that are familiar with Johnny and know a little bit about his life, his personality, his music, does that even surprise you? No. It doesn't. Johnny Cash is known for singing songs about prison. And he has also played many shows at actual prisons to incarcerated folks, but he's never spent actual time. He has gone to jail plenty of times for so many misdemeanors, but never actually been to the pen. And Steph, you have something to say to add about that?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that I think he's associated in some ways with prisons. But right. Yeah, interestingly, it's like he never spent time there. But of course, as you allude to on the flip side, he took, playing at prisons and playing for prisoners, he just took that really seriously and did that really deliberately. And of course, Folsom Prison Blues, that was Johnny's first top 10 single, that classic. And then, it's fantastic. It was my ringtone for, I think, a number of years. It's pretty great.
Nice.
And then San Quentin is where Johnny played his first prison concert in 1958. And that was a really interesting show because Merle Haggard was an inmate there, and he was 20 years old, and he heard Johnny play that show, and he credits Johnny with setting him on the path towards his career.
Holy shit!
Isn't that crazy?
Merle Haggard's on there. Mama tried. Tried.
Isn't that nuts? And you can there's a lot of found some little interview and a little more fun facts on history.com, History Channel's website. Really, really interesting. But he talked about, over the years, Merle Haggard talked about seeing Johnny Cash's debut at San Quentin. And he had said, Johnny walked in with the right kind of attitude to walk into a prison. Mm-hmm. And he said, his quote was, he chewed gum, looked arrogant, and flipped the bird to the guards. He did everything the prisoners wanted to do. He was a mean mother from the South who was there because he loved us. When he walked away, everyone in that place had become a Johnny Cash fan. Such a cool quote. And you can picture it. And of course, there's the iconic picture you see everywhere of Johnny flipping the bird. And, he was his own person. He kind of just didn't give a shit in that way. But again, he believed in playing prisons and having that as an important audience. And he also had spoken out more than once just about the unfairness of the system itself, over incarceration of people of color. And then relatedly, Johnny also spoke out on civil rights at a time when music industry folks weren't doing that, especially country artists of that time. Yep. And so it was really ahead of his time in a lot of ways, and really was an amazing dude in a lot of ways.
Yes. And Johnny, Johnny Cash, as far as the music industry, other artists from all different genres love him. And one of his buddies was Roy Orbison. So for those that don't know who Roy Orbison is, he's the guy, pretty woman walking down.
Gotta love Roy. Yeah.
But that's his song, right? There's plenty of others. But so they were friends, and Johnny once made a deal with Roy that they should both grow ponytails. Well, Johnny didn't want to do it, and Roy unfortunately passed a few months later. And when Johnny went to his services, walked up to Roy's casket, he laughed as he saw that Roy had a ponytail. So that's funny. Anyway,
keep that bet, got to keep that bet.
Yeah, for sure. Another random fun fact, in Johnny's early years, he owned a camper van and he named it Jesse James. The van was used to drive out into the desert so he could binge on amphetamines. The windows were all painted black. So again, like I said, Johnny, and for those folks that do know about him, he definitely lived that outlaw life. Steph already said he didn't, really give a fuck. Hey, he had some fun in Jesse James. So
funny. Like, just to go out to do amphetamines, got this hard to do that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So on that note of just being a little bit of a misfit, he was the only person ever successfully sued by the U.S. for starting a forest fire. Wow. What? I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Damn, that's fun.
So basically what happened in June of 1965, his camper caught fire during a fishing trip with his nephew in Los Padres National Forest in California, triggering a forest fire that burned several hundred acres and nearly killed Cash. Cash claimed that the fire was caused by sparks from a defective exhaust system on his camper, but it's thought that Cash started a fire to stay warm and in his drugged condition failed to notice the fire getting out of control. And this is he actually had somebody accompanying him, which was his nephew, Damon Fielder. So Damon was on the other side of this, thinking Johnny actually started the fire. So in the courtroom, when the judge asked Cash why he did it, Cash said, "I didn't do it. My truck did, and it's dead, so you can question it." The fire destroyed 508 acres, burning the foliage of 3 mountains and driving off 49 of the refugees' 53 endangered condors. That's a lot of damage. Yeah, it's a lot of damage. So when Cash heard about this in court, he maybe he was on something, whatever. He's like, "I don't care about your damn yellow buzzards. The federal government then sued him and was awarded $125,000 in 2016. Oh, and in 2016, that's equivalent of pretty much close to $1 million, y'all. So when this happened back in the 60s, yeah, he paid close to $1 million for the bullshit that he did. Cash eventually settled the case and paid $82,000. Okay, so he was awarded. Okay, got it. And he was the first person ever sued by the government again for a forest fire. All right, Johnny. Last fun fact I want to share about him is that him and Ozzy Osbourne became good friends at the Betty Ford Clinic in the 80s. I love it. I want to see two folks in black talking it out. One with the really strong Southern twang and draw, and then you got Ozzy, who you can't understand his British accent.
No, Ozzy's got his own issues.
Mm-hmm.
Ozzy's got his own issues. So
I'd love to be a fly on the wall during that shit when they were talking.
Can you imagine?
Oh my god, yes.
Wow.
But, woo! All right, so that's some fun stuff on Johnny.
Colorful life, that dude. Colorful life, and known for so many different songs. Kind of by the end of his career, but of course, what we're talking about today, "Ring of Fire," can't really escape it. And I would say that's probably, his best known song. If I had to guess, but a lot of interesting history with it. It was released in 1963. Of course, just this huge hit. It was from the album Ring of Fire, the best of Johnny Cash. And something that I think kind of gets lost to history a lot is the song was actually co-written by his future wife at the time, June Carter. And then the songwriter Merle Kilgore, another Merle in this case. But
that's a common name back in the day, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So co-written by the three of them. And June, apparently she had come up with the idea for Ring of Fire, according to legend, when she was driving around one night, just thinking about, it's like, oh, I'm drawn to this person who has pretty wild life, but I'm not able to resist him. Thought of the concept of this, and
there was because he wore all black.
Yeah. I wear it for the thousands who have died. Amazing. And then one of the original lines was prior to being released. There's no way to be in that hell, no way to extinguish a flame that burns, burns, burns. It's from the original song. So June, of course, and it's classic. June went on to marry Johnny. 5 years later, that co-writer Merle Kilgore was best man.
Cute.
So cute. And, it's interesting because June actually supposedly took the song's title from a book of Elizabethan poetry belonging to her uncle. Yeah. And, there's a lot of interesting history because she was originally like, do I write this for Johnny to sing? She thought about writing it for her sister to sing. Okay. And her sister did record a version of it with the title Love's Ring of Fire. So it's interesting because it really had sort of this, to get to radio, to get to where you heard it, it really kind of took its own little journey as a song. And I think sometimes, people don't know those little twists and turns. So it's interesting.
No, that is cool. Yeah. When I was doing research for the episode, I ran into Anita Carter and I was like, oh, snap, I didn't know. And so, thanks for mentioning that. That's awesome. Just how, a song will evolve. I mean, just like our last episode when we talked about Moby and Mission of Burma. Moby took Mission of Burma's. That's when I reached for my revolver, just as a reminder, and put a play on words so he could make it more mainstream. So for MTV, that's awesome. That is awesome. So Ring of Fire. It's a song. It's one of the songs that just kind of makes my world stop for a couple of seconds wherever I'm hearing. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. Like I just have to pause. There are select few songs that are like that for me personally, and this isn't my top three. My other two is definitely Alice in Chains' Wood. And then also Metallica's One. Those three songs, I just stop. I just stop and I pause for a second. Even if I catch it in the middle of the song, let's say I'm driving or, whatever, socializing, it's at a bar, it's at a restaurant, whatever you're at. I'm like, I need to pause for a little bit, acknowledge and just keep on going. It has that effect. It just has that effect. It's an intense song. It's romantic. It is amazing. Like, this is like a masterpiece. And then when you hear Johnny Cash's voice in the beginning, you're like, shut up. I gotta shut up and listen, because that's Johnny. His fucking voice is so captivating. He was such a badass artist that if you don't even listen to country on the regular, you're going to stop and listen to him. Like, my husband fucking hates country. Loves Johnny Cash. Would not go with me to Dwight Yoakam because he fucking hates country. And I get it. And I'm like, but Johnny Cash is so near and dear to him. And guess what, y'all? For people that don't know me, I got my dogs named after Johnny Cash. My Chiweenie, his name is Cash, and I named him Cash. I got him first because he has attitude. Like Johnny. I tend to name my animals after rock stars. That's just how I roll.
Yeah.
And and then we got him. It was on Black Friday, and I'm like, and he's got attitude. That's fucking Cash right there.
So
boom.
Cute.
Yes. And then Johnny, his brother, came on Valentine's Day. So I got Johnny Cash. He's my Basenji, and he's an undercover lover. So I think that I have, like, from the very little that we know of our artists, we get so familiar with them. We love them so much. We feel like if we read about their lives, we just know who they are. I think that Johnny Cash would love my Johnny Cash.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, guys, I just want to recap this. Her dogs are Johnny and Cash. That's amazing. And they're so sweet. They're so sweet. Can you just imagine that? We'll post a picture on the socials just so you guys can get a full sense of this. That's some fandom though, Stephanie. So, props. That's some fandom.
Yeah, I mean, my other dog, Chino, named him after, of course, Chino Moreno from the Deftones. I mean, and I had another dog named Maynard, Maynard James Keenan from Tool, Perfect Circle. And I forget the other band. Anyway, but yeah, it's just so much. Johnny Cash is just the man. And, I think what's great about Johnny Cash for me and Stephanie, is that there was a particular venue we went to every Wednesday, or was it like Wednesday of the month? I'll let Steph talk about this, but to kick it off. But we partied on the school night for Johnny Cash. Check it. Go, Steph, go.
We got, as everyone knows, the podcast, we're talking about our stories and our memories connected with these folks. And we so heavily associate Johnny Cash with just this amazing event in Brooklyn. It was called the CashHank Hootenanny. And the CashHank Hootenanny, super fun, took place in South Slope at a bar called Buttermilk. It was a great bar. And this event was so fun. It was such a nice little chill thing to attend in the middle of what could sometimes just be kind of craziness. But it drew in everybody in the hood, just demographically. And it was such a popular event. You had to get there early if you wanted a seat, like for this jam out. But what it was this amazing, great jam out. It honored Johnny Hank Williams, thus the name CashHank Hootenanny. All of those folks from the time. There's Patsy Cline. People would bring in their stuff all the time. It's just so great. And what folks could do is they could come up, bring their instruments, and do their tributes to folks from this era. And it was really, really neat to go watch. I tried to never miss one. My landlord at the time, Diego, he did a great rendition of, I think it was Get Rhythm. And it was fantastic. Little tribute to Johnny. Loved seeing that. But there was definitely within Brooklyn too, just this real reverence for older classic country, and people would come in, and it was not amateur hour, to put it mildly. Like, people were really good. They'd bring in their guitars and banjos, like put small bands together to go up and do this tributes just in, and this wasn't a big event space. This was a small bar. Like, it was a very intimate bar.
Yes.
But a classic, great dive, and such a cool place to kind of invoke their spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that it's still going on there because the area has changed so much, but hoping that, things like that live on because it was really, really special tribute to Johnny Cash and to Hank Williams and to just folks of that era.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was so much fun. I looked forward to it. It was every Wednesday. Like Steph said, always a packed house. And it was literally just a standard dive bar. It was a room, but it was the people that went and it was the events that they held that made it so special. And I hope there's still some special events like that happening because I think Buttermilk is still open. Neither here nor there. It's been a minute. It's been a while. And what I personally loved about that night is that you would see people who you knew grew up with Johnny Cash, like myself. Growing up in San Antonio, Cash talks a lot about San Antonio in his songs. My parents have, they love country music. I grew up on him and it's like, sweet. Now I've seen other people pay homage, but you also have folks who, or maybe I remember us taking some friends who don't put country on rotation, on heavy rotation. And they're like, hey, but I know who this guy is, especially at the time that we went to Buttermilk because Johnny Cash made a big splash on the mainstream because he partnered with Rick Rubin and did a bunch of different covers of really, really popular rock songs. And so it was like, oh, cool. Johnny Cash was like everywhere. Like we lived in Brooklyn at the best time, Stephanie. Like I just think maybe I'm biased because we were there together and we have so many great memories to share with everyone. But like seriously, it was a special time for music. And so you would see people from all walks of life, which is great, and that's what it's supposed to be. And it reminded me as well. I felt that same sentiment I mentioned now earlier at Dwight because it draws people from different sides. This is not like a Toby Keith show. You know what you're going to get at a Toby Keith show. Sorry, y'all who like Toby Keith, but I'm just going to put it out there because I don't give a fuck.
He deserves
what you're going to get
at
a Toby Keith, or you're going to a fucking, like on the rock side, you're going to go see dumbass Ted Nugent. So, I'm just like, all right, you know what you're going to get. But another thing that I really did like about Buttermilk as well is like the crowd was there, but they even try to do a little theme. They'd have specials on whiskey. Johnny Cash was a whiskey drinker. So it was just fun. It was so much fun. And, and great because the acoustics, we talked about acoustics, our last episode, talking about a Mission of Burma blowing us out. Well, man, here we came prepared and we thought if we could survive CashHank Hootenanny night, we could do anything. And so it was, there was a lot of passion on that stage and man, I miss it. It was so cool.
It was really, really cool. And you could tell people coming in just for that night were bringing their own sense of nostalgia, sense of memories, that it wasn't just about, oh, okay, like I'm here tonight. Okay. Oh, there happens to be a band. Like people really, they brought in their own memories to it,
Well, yeah. I mean, because if you were there for the event. You couldn't go and be like, oh shit, let me go shoot the shit with Deborah after work and have some cocktails. Fuck no. You and Deborah ain't having no fucking conversation because that shit was fucking loud. So you went there for the music and that was so awesome. I'm like, woo, we're all here.
It was really, really cool. It was really cool. And then, I had my own kind of like sense of nostalgia and memories that tie to both Johnny Cash and Hank Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I really heavily associate Hank Williams with my grandfather who passed earlier this year, Grandpa Jack. And I think my first memories of knowing anything actually about Hank Williams are my granddad singing Hey Good Looking and dancing around the living room with my grandma. Shout out to my grandma who actually I think might be listening. Hi, Grandma. But as a kid, like I actually feel like I might have thought this was a song, Hey Good Looking, was a song that Grandpa made up, and probably took me a little bit in childhood to be like, oh my God, that's a real song. It's just like, oh, Grandpa just makes up songs that are really good.
It's so cute.
It's like, it's so fun. But that's a special one for me.
That's cool.
Yeah, love you, Grandpa. Every time I hear Hank Williams, I think about you. Do love Hank Williams. And then, and also when I thought about it, my grandpa John, who passed when I was about 15, just had this aesthetic, had this attitude that reminded me of Johnny Cash. Just like a kind of a fun connection there too. He was just very much his own person, just kind of rebel in a lot of ways, like live life his own way and on his own terms. And that's kind of how he always was. And then also when I first saw a picture of Johnny Cash when I was a kid, I was also like, oh, that person looks like Grandpa John. Like, you know, the first time I saw it. So it's like that backwards connection. So yeah, just remembering both my grandfathers in that way and thinking about how I tie their memories to both those icons.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I love Hank Williams too. And again, like Hank, Johnny Cash, Dwight Yoakam probably could all hang out and slam a couple of beers, whiskeys, whatever they do, because they're all the same ilk. I definitely am a fan of Hank as well, and his grandson, Hank 3. So I used to like Junior, and then he got a bit racist, and I ain't got time for that shit, so I'll let it go.
He sucks.
But he did. Yeah, I mean, he got racist. I was like,
Hank Junior sucks. It was like the talent skipped a generation. So it's like
Yeah.
Hank Williams Sr. was awesome. Hank the Third's really cool. Hank Williams Jr. I'll leave right where found.
We just leave it. We just leave that there. We just do. Yeah, I've seen Hank 3 live. And the cool thing about Hank 3, y'all, if y'all don't know who he is he's a front man for the band Hank 3. They'll go out and it's a mix of metal and rockabilly, and it's amazing. And he also has some other side projects as well, so you should definitely check out Hank 3. My favorite Hank Williams song has to be Your Cheating Heart. And I always think about it growing up again, because these are old artists, y'all. I mean, we're bringing it back. Hank Williams, in 1996, there was a commercial that used this song. It was a Pepsi commercial, and it showed a Coke delivery guy going into a store and supplying the cooler with a bunch of Coke, of course, right? And there was a Pepsi cooler next door, and he decides to take a can, and all of the cans in the cooler come out in the fridge.
Awesome. Love it.
And it's like, you're cheating hard. The Coke guy was cheating on the Coke with the Pepsi. It was the best. Y'all, go. I literally went to YouTube and I watched it again. I'm like, I just love this fucking commercial. Back in the day, I was an advertising major, and so I actually paid attention to shit. But I don't now. But anyway, that's like Hank Williams. Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. And I believe also there's a song that, my goodness, Alan Jackson did about Hank Williams. Midnight in Montgomery.
Yes.
Midnight in Montgomery. That is a good one as well.
It's really cool. Yeah. If folks should check that out if they haven't. I think the music video is also pretty cool. It's a pretty, yeah, but it's a straightforward tribute to Hank Williams Sr. and really cool. Yeah. Really cool.
Love that. Love Midnight in Montgomery. I like Alan Jackson as well. Man, I'm going to go back memory lane after we're done with this. For real. And this is definitely an episode that I know that we have tons of fans on. I know you have some stories. Let us know. Talk to us. I'm going to show you my dogs. Tell me what weird thing about Johnny Cash you've done. I mean, I don't know. Or you've seen him live. I mean, folks have been able to see him live. I want to know. It's super cool. This guy's an icon. Anything else I'm just going to call them the Outlaws. I just have to call those guys the Outlaws. Any memories you got with the Outlaw Gang? Have you seen Dwight before? I mean, he was big in the 90s. I have a friend of mine who was like, yeah, I'm jealous. I saw him in the 90s. I'm like, yeah, that was his prime. That's badass, yeah, so I'd love to hear more from you guys.
And, we make it easy to reach us in any form you'd want to. You can email us if you're old school, Stephanie's Talktunes at gmail.com. Any social platform you're on, we are probably on, and we would love to hear from you. We're Stephanie's Talktunes on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're Stephanie's Talk on Twitter. Once again, thanking folks for those reviews on Apple Podcasts. If you could give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, that'd be great. If you could write one, even better. But gratitude for folks who have. Just appreciate you listening. We really do appreciate it. It makes a big difference.
Absolutely. And I need to see some action, y'all, on this Johnny Cash. I know there's things y'all need to share because he's just a special artist. So come on, Talk Tuners, talk to us. So, in addition, when you reach out to us, again, we're part of the Pantheon Network. So be sure to go and check out our brother and sister podcast. We have some really good content there. So happy to be a part of that network, and definitely you guys should check them out as well. If you enjoy us, I'm sure you'll find like 5 or 10 more other podcasts you enjoy that are part of Pantheon. So thank you so much.
Incredible ones on the network. Really grateful to be part of that network. I love listening to them all the time. And I think other folks will like to discover those sibling podcasts as well.
For sure. All right. Well, I think we all are on assignment. We need to go listen to some Johnny Cash and have a wonderful day. And I'm out. I'll see you next time, guys.
Have a good one, guys. Love ya. Peace.